The chandelier sparkled above the silence. Moments ago, the room had echoed with laughter and clinking glasses until the billionaire spoke. A single phrase, uttered in fluent Arabic, cut through the noise like a blade. Confusion swept across polished faces. No one replied. Not the hosts, not the diplomats, not the scholars. Then from the edge of the room a voice answered. Soft, steady, and unmistakably correct. A black maid had just silenced a room built on power. This is the story of one sentence that exposed everything. Welcome, story lovers. Comment, your city below. At the grand estate overlooking the Pacific. Wealth was displayed like a badge, gold chandeliers, polished marble floors, and servers gliding through like shadows. Among them was Amina, the black maid who crept, never drawing attention. To most, she was invisible, a background detail, in a room full of powerful people. But Amina had a life before this. She had once taught Arabic literature in West Africa, a voice of pride in her village before circumstances forced her to migrate. Now, she folded napkins and cleaned cutlery for people who didn't know her name. The night of the gala, the guest list glittered with CEOs and foreign dignitaries. Whispers of business deals danced in the air. Amina, as always, kept her eyes low. But something that night, something unscripted was about to shift the atmosphere, and when it did, the one person no one had considered became the only one who understood. The gala was in full swing. Waiters circulated with champagne flutes as a string quartet played in the corner. Amina moved silently between tables, clearing plates, catching snippets of conversation, most of it in English or French, sometimes Mandarin. But then, near the fireplace, a small group gathered, tight suits, sharp watches. One man stood out. Older, calm, impossibly wealthy, a Saudi billionaire who hadn't said a word all evening. As the host introduced new guests, the billionaire finally spoke in classical Arabic. The words were complex and poetic. The room shifted, everyone turned toward him, but no one understood. Murmurs spread. Some looked to the translator, but he had stepped away. The host chuckled awkwardly. Anyone? He asked. Amina stood still, heartbeat loud in her chest. She recognized the phrase, a proverb her father used to say. Without thinking, she stepped forward and answered him. Perfect pronunciation. Unmistakable confidence. The room went dead silent. All eyes turned to her, not with admiration, but suspicion. A maid. Speaking like that. The billionaire's face lit up. Finally, he said, in English. Someone who listens. What followed was worse. Whispers turned to stares. A guest muttered something about hiring standards. Another joked, she must be spying for someone. Amina returned to the shadows, but the damage was done. She hadn't broken protocol. She had broken the illusion. And for the powerful, that was the real crime. Later that night, she was summoned to the kitchen, not by the staff, but by security. The host stood beside them, face tight. Where did you learn that? He asked coldly. Amina explained her degrees, her past, her love for languages. He didn't nod, he didn't smile. He simply said, stay out of conversations that aren't meant for you. Her heart pounded. So that's what this was about. Not what she said, but who was allowed to say it. The billionaire appeared behind them. She saved you from embarrassment, he said calmly. But it seems you prefer silence over truth. The host said nothing, but Amina saw it. The flicker of fear. She didn't belong, they thought. But for one shining second, she had belonged more than any of them. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. Amina didn't lose her job, but everything changed. Staff now whispered her name with a mix of awe and caution. Guests looked twice. Some offered her smiles, others, silence. The billionaire. He sent her a book a week later, Arabic poetry, signed, to the one who heard me. But the moment lingered beyond the gala. It sparked conversations in quiet corners about assumptions, about status, about race. One woman, a maid, had cracked a room full of power with nothing but her voice. Not because she wanted to. Because she couldn't stay silent. And that's what racism fears most, not protest, not confrontation, but quiet intelligence, breaking through walls built on arrogance. How many voices are we still ignoring? And how many truths do they carry? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos.